Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Jessica Srikantia Field. I'm the Academic Director at the Institute for Transformational Leadership at Georgetown University, as well as a life leadership team and systems coach. And I am excited to be here today in my independent capacity with Dr. Bhaskaran Pillai, founder of Phonemic Intelligence, a powerful technology for optimizing brain functioning to unlock human potential. Dr. Pillai is an international humanitarian, educator, spiritual leader, an enlightened master, and advanced yogi from the Tamil Siddha tradition in southern India. Dr. Pillai's mission is to end human suffering, enhance quality of life, and make enlightenment accessible to all. Dr. Pillai distills the essence of the highest yogic wisdom into 5 to 10 minute practices that are effective, transformative, and accessible for ordinary people. And today our focus is on phonemic intelligence, one such practice. So greetings, Dr. Pillai. Thank you so much for being here with us today and for sharing your wisdom and innovations. Perhaps we could begin with your sharing a little bit about how you discovered your life's mission.
I have always been interested, right from my early age, anywhere between 7 to 9. I interested in one thing. How do we know which comes first, thought or a word or the sound or the meaning? And I was able to, reflecting what happened in that early age, now I understand. And I was interested in all these things, thought, word, sound, knowledge, all these things were my preoccupation in my previous lifetimes. And then, so it continued. I remember even when I was 6-year-old, I used to meditate on the Buddha with the picture of Buddha in front of me. Buddha means the intelligent, the awakened one. So I was interested in the concept of emptiness. So when you are empty, then there will be no suffering. That's basically the teaching of the Buddha, is that life is suffering, and in order to get rid of the suffering, you have to get rid of your thoughts. And when you get rid of your thoughts, then what you are left with is just emptiness, and then there is no suffering. So that attracted me. Although I was a Hindu, born as a Hindu, and in my part of India, Buddha was not popular, was hardly known, but I was interested in that. So later on, when I grew up, I began to understand a lot of things about the relationship between the world and the mind. And then I began to understand why, without the mind, the world doesn't exist. Then these are concepts that are available in yoga texts, particularly in Yoga Vasishtha. So you go to bed and then the world disappears when you go to sleep. And then when you wake up in the morning, the world comes. So the world is the mind. And the Buddhist teaching also has a philosophy called the Chittamatra. Only the mind exists. The world doesn't exist at all. So this led me to the study of the mind and intelligence. That is how I ended up, studying intelligence, and what is intelligence and how does it help us to know. And then that led me to understand. So the sound is played a very important part. And during that time, to go back to my early years when I was a boy, I had an experience which was really an initiation which I received. I clearly remember when I was 9-year-old, I had a naked saint who I met him in the temple. And he came close to me. He was naked and, his hair was falling on the ground, maitre d' hair. And he opened his mouth, and there was no tongue. And immediately, certain things, he was communicating with me. The tongue thinks. Sound is important. Sound is intelligence. I did not understand at that time, but it took 20 years, 30 years, and even now I'm working on that. That's how I began to look into sound as intelligence. Even a thought is dependent on a sound because the sound creates the words, the language. Then I understood that tongue things that really got me started. Okay. And I'm still in the search. So, phonemic intelligence developed out of this. The phoneme is a sound, a syllable that creates a meaning. Say, for instance, I'll give you an example. Let me give you this sound like pull, Pull, and then another sound, full, Full, and another sound, bull. You know, these are three words, and then the only one sound, one syllable has changed, and the meaning changes. Pull, bull, pull. Why? So is intelligence hiding behind these syllables? So that led me uh, to inquire more about the sounds, and then I said, phoneme carries intelligence. I did not come up with that right away. The beginning, I used to teach it as mind sound technology. And then I wanted to be more precise, and then I said, phoneme is intelligence. And the phoneme is, of course, is also mind. Then I thought phonemic intelligence was more precise, and then I can understand how each phonemes can give you a specific intelligence. Okay, that is the basis or fundamentals for phonemic intelligence. I know you want to ask other questions, so
Yeah, no, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And how does phonemic intelligence work?
how it works. I think the best way to illustrate this is a research. First, I started with an organization called Brain Science International in San Francisco, where I told them that the intelligence is behind these little phonemes here, and then we studied one sound only there. It's with a great scientist, Gunkelman. He was reluctant, and then he agreed to study the sound ah. And then he found that the sound was creating, coherent. It's a brainwave study, coherent alpha spindles in an area called the anterior cingulate cortex. And he was so amazed that the sound and saw can do so much wonder. Then I took this to Harvard, and then they were convinced about it because there was some research before from Brain Science International. But there studied it with fMRI, okay, because that is more scientific than brainwave studies. And then they found that the sound ah was able to light up the whole brain. Every neuron got lit up. They called it as global activation of the brain. And that led me to go and study what happens with the sound, with the other sounds, these other syllables, to put it in layman's language. Each syllable can go and activate a different part of the brain. So this is what we studied at Harvard. And now that led me to go and to look at it, what it does with neurotransmitters, hormones, yeah, and then connect it with the intelligence or dopamine or gabapentin, how these are all cortisol. These are all states of mind or intelligence. So intelligence is really behind these sounds, and then they can activate different parts of the brain and also hormones, neurotransmitters, even the synaptic gaps are also can be activated through these sounds. Okay, this is to give the science behind it. But for common people, I would say that if you want to activate now, say for your left brain, I know it is associated with moral, logical thinking, science, math, all these things. There is a sound, then there is another vowel or syllable, which is E. And then we find we have science behind it. What happens when you chant the sound at either you can touch the left brain and then focus on the sound E, or even think about the sound E at the left brain. So the left brain gets activated. Or if we want rational thinking, decision making, that is very important in life. Then there is another sound like I, for instance. And for this also we studied at Harvard. Uh, the frontal lobe, the frontal lobe gets activated. Having said that, they are very specific to these areas. So each sound is specific to these areas. Then I can even say each sound, it may be even specific to neurons, but there are 86 billion neurons. So we can study, but I think it takes a lot of money, but it'll be very fruitful to do that. So why is it so important? It's important because everything is based on our brain, which is the creator of intelligence. Okay, the intelligence is located in the brain, in different areas of the brain. Similarly, the right brain is associated, everybody knows is associated with the music or creativity. So you can, by using these little sounds, syllables, activate different parts of the brain. So that is the basis of phonemic intelligence, and we have tested it in so many places. First, we started testing it here. The first I started in Canada, and then later in the United States, where we introduced it in schools, and then there are some publications also, and how it can improve your math intelligence, because math is very important for everybody. And there's a small area of the brain called the intraparietal structures. And if that is not actually working properly, then you will have what is called a dyscalculia, which is a difficulty in calculating. So there is a whole science behind it. But then there is also even beyond science, other things. I think they are so complicated. Let's only confine ourselves to what the sounds can do to us, and then how long does it take? In seconds, we can see the fMRI studies. You can see in seconds, they activate different parts of the brain. So, so it is going to revolutionize education. Now, education is only training, academic training given, and they have no proven technology. If someone is weak in math and they don't attribute it to a specific part of the brain, so they try to teach this kid math, and the kid is not able to pick up because the math brain is not working. Similarly, if the left brain is not working, it's not able to have a logical thinking. And some people naturally, uh, they are born that way. So there is the education doesn't address this issue that the brain is causing this problem of learning. The learning is a problem of the brain not functioning well. That's why I came up with the motto for education and our phonemic intelligences, which is don't blame the kids, don't blame the teachers, blame it on the brain. Okay. The kids are not able to learn because the brain, there's a brain inadequacy. And so, by the phonemic intelligence is the only educational system that addresses that problems in learning are due to brain inadequacies, particularly specific parts of the brain. And phonemic intelligence can help kids to activate that part of the brain. And if that part of the brain is activated, then learning becomes easier. So that is my vision for phonemic intelligence as a new educational program which addresses the problem of the brain being responsible for academic failure or success. And having said that, it's not only for kids, because people should not think that it is for kids. It's for everybody. Everybody needs to have their brain to work better. Okay. And phonemic intelligence does this in a mysterious way, within seconds. And we have done, in in Goa, which is a state in India. We introduced it in 200 schools and studied about 50,000 kids to go through that. And then we have remarkable results. And those who went through the program could do very well in their school. And then to be very precise, they were able to have better concentration, better comprehension, and as a result, their academic scores went up. You know, and then their social behavior also improved. In New York, I think we did a study where people who were the kids who were uncontrollable, they were a big problem for certain schools. And then we introduced the sound, and then the kids became very calm, and then the suspension rate came down in the schools. It's a program that will revolutionize the current educational system.
Amazing.
Phonemic intelligence will give you the intuitive brain. The intuition The last thing that Einstein said, what is important is not your rational brain. I discovered everything in my life through intuition. Well, he even said, in 1 hour, 55 minutes you will waste on trying to rationalize and figure out things. But in 5 minutes, the intuition will kick in and give you everything. So phonemic intelligence will also give you the intuitive intelligence. That is the most important thing. This is how the yogis and the siddhas, they could know everything. They had omniscience. And how did they have? It is all because they did not depend on the rational brain. So their model is, when you know, you don't know. When you don't know, you know. So you have to go beyond knowledge. Only when you go beyond knowledge, then you can understand everything. Okay? And so many people who really became geniuses, they were able to do because they had this intuitive intelligence. So phonemic intelligence also provides intuition. And this is briefly what I have to say about phonemic intelligence and how you know because of the phonemes. And that is the last word.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Pillai. This sounds like a truly extraordinary bringing forward of deep yogic knowledge into a very short, simple practice that can be accessible even to children and can really transform our brains and our lives. Thank you for sharing this innovation with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. And if you'd like to be notified of additional episodes, please hit the subscribe button below.